everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. Two brand new guests onto the show. First of all, we have Amar joining us today. How you doing, Amar?
I'm good, Jacob. How are you?
And also, I'm good. And we also have the host of the Pop-Up Shop podcast on SoundCloud. You can find it there. We have Isaac Thompson in the house. How you doing, buddy?
I'm existing. I'm like the Leafs, you know? I'm there. We'll see how it goes throughout the course of this episode. But right now, firing on all cylinders.
And we are going to be talking about the Leafs today. We're going to be talking about their potential championship window and how long that window is going to last, because I feel like it is increasingly shrinking. What's that mathematical term where the line is constantly getting close to the line? Is that an asymptote?
Asymptote, yes.
That's what I feel like the league championship window is becoming.
Absolutely, I know.
It's an absolute asymptote. So we'll start with Isaac, because you are more vocal of a Leafs fan, in my opinion, out of you two.
I'm just loud. I don't say much.
Yeah, I can agree with that. How do you feel about the current Leafs situation and the potential championship candidacy?
I mean, the current Leafs situation is tricky at best. I feel like you come in to the season with high expectations, obviously, getting bounced in back-to-back Game 7s by Boston. Okay, your off-season big move. You trade Kadri and Calle Rosen to get in Tyson Barrie and Alex Kerfoot.
Oh, wow. Calle Rosen part of that deal, right?
Yeah, Calle Rosen was part of that deal. He's just been chilling in the AHL. I think he's played a few NHL games this past couple weeks. Yeah, you make that trade. And I would still make that trade at the time, because it's not every day you get a guy that was coming off of like a
65.
60-point season when you have last year.
On paper, it's a fantastic trade for him.
He had a 59-point season. You're getting a right shot defenseman that put up 59 points last year for $2.85 million.
Yep.
And a third line center whose point totals last year equaled Kadri's pretty much. You take that trade every single day.
Yeah.
You don't anticipate that all-star acquisition is going to come in and play the worst hockey of his professional career.
Mm-hmm. Not largely in part on him. Like, it's not really.
It wasn't.
It isn't. Yeah, I agree.
He was bad. Like, he was not used correctly by Babcock, but he was also bad. He made a lot of bad mistakes, and he wasn't playing with the confidence that he needed.
He was very much out of his element in the previous system that we had.
I
to the point where it shook the rest of his confidence. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so you come into the season, high expectations. You know, maybe some of your players aren't crazy about the coach, but whatever. You start fresh, essentially. You're coming in, lots of new faces, and that's something that's not really talked about when we look into how the season started. A good amount of the team was pretty new. Like, you come in, you have, like, if we just go line by line here, your first line stayed the same. You had Hyman, Tavares, and Marner. Marner was there for preseason because he signed on day one, or like the day before preseason. Hyman was out with the injury. Yep. Whatever. Those guys were still there. Mm-hmm. Your second line, if you want to go Janssen, Matthews, Nylander, those guys still there.
Yep.
Great. Now it's when you get to the third and fourth lines are things starting to get weird. Because then if you go with the third line at the time, you would go Trevor Moore, who played a handful of games and playoffs, so you can consider him same. Alex Kerfoot, who is completely new, and Ilya Mikheyev, completely new.
To the country.
Completely new.
To the league,
point blank, right? And then you drop down another line, and you go Frederick Gauthier. Okay, he's been here for like 4 seasons.
Yep. The GOAT.
He's been there red hot, by the way.
Man. With 3 goals in the last 5 games.
Yeah. Back-to-back games.
Hey, every shift he comes on. What does he got?
6'5" every shift.
You can't teach that.
You can't teach that.
Tell me one person that can learn that. I would like to learn. If there's a teacher that can teach me to become 6'5", then I will.
You're what? You're 5'10"?
I'll let you know.
I plead fifth. You go there, and then you have Jason Spezza, who we know how that started with Babcock at the start of the season. He was new. And then you had Dmitry Timashov, who probably shouldn't have made the team, but due to waivers, he was kind of just there because he didn't want to lose him for nothing.
Yep.
And you look at the defense. Defense, way more new. Because he started season Riley, just came off like a 70-point season.
Yeah.
Great. His partner, Cody Ceci, new to the team. Not great, but new to the team. Your second pairing, Muzzin, who's still relatively new. Like, he played the back half of last season and playoffs.
Half a season of experience.
Yeah, but he's still relatively new. And Tyson Barrie's new outright. Then your third pairing was Rasmus Sandin and a revolving door of Mark Marinson, Kevin Gravel, Justin Hall, who played 11 games last year, wasn't injured, just played 11 games.
And what do you do to Edmonton, Jacob? What Justin Hall do to Edmonton Stars?
You shut him down.
He shut him down.
You shut down Connor McDavid.
He shut down Connor McDavid.
And so you go through.
And this man played 11 games last season.
Played 11 games last season. So you go through.
Maybe we should have played more.
And you realize that like a lot of the team was still like relatively new, and it was gonna take a bit to get acclimated to a new system, as one does. In addition, they just weren't very good, and they weren't healthy. Like obviously, you lose Hyman out and Dermott. Dermott's a guy I completely forgot on that list there because he was out for so long.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
You lose those two guys. Now they're not like the cornerstones of your team, but they're still very
they're
important.
Good depth guys.
Yeah, they're very important to have.
Important.
You know, they shouldn't make or break your team.
Yeah,
but having them is much better than not having them, right? So you go through and you start the season without those guys. Okay, that's fine. You have enough depth. We would always say that the Leafs have at least enough winger depth that Zach Hyman being out shouldn't be the end of the world.
Yes.
Like, it shouldn't make them bad. You'll lose a bit there.
Like, you will definitely notice, like, his absence.
Yeah.
But, like, the other players shouldn't be that bad. There shouldn't be that much of a gap between the performance of the line with or without Zach Hyman.
Exactly. And so you go there, and so guys are hurt. Okay, whatever. And you start the season, and you're alright. I believe, what they go off? I think they were, like, 3-1 to start the season. Like, just the first 4 games, like, they were 3-1-0. And that was fine. You know, there was some iffiness that they still couldn't start a game. The third straight season, they still couldn't start a game.
Yeah, Ottawa scored on us in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, Montreal did that weekend as well.
Yep.
I believe they got the first goal on Columbus, and I forget who they played the night before. Oh, no, they played Columbus, Montreal. And so they were like 3-1, something like that. But regardless, they still couldn't start a game. So you can see the same issues that were like still there, despite with a new team. In addition, just their stars weren't playing at the level that they could have been. Tavares, although like last year was a career year, so I doubt he'll be able to replicate that because you know the guy's 29. You know you don't put up back-to-back career years.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he wasn't playing at the level that he should have been. Marner wasn't playing at the level. Matthews wasn't playing at the level. The only consistent guy was William Nylander.
No, Matthews started off the season hot.
Yeah. Well, sure,
Matthews
he did.
Really
He was, but it was kind of like a give and a take thing, right? Where he would score a goal. But defensively, he would just kind of look at a guy and he'd be like, "Hey, it's in the back of the net."
Hey,
you know,
you scored. You scored. Yeah. I do that.
Yeah, so it was a give and a take thing where he would do that, but then he'd score a goal. And you're like, okay, well, I don't care because you're scoring, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And as the season goes on, because Matthews scores in bunches, he'll score 7 in like 5 games, go cold for 4, score 10 in 4. Go cold for a few
10
games.
and 4.
He'll do
I'd
that.
love to see that.
Like, he'll do that.
That'd be pretty cool. If he
mean,
scored 10 goals in 4 games.
Check. He's only had 1 hat trick, and that was his first game, which is still shocking. Like
he scored 4 in that game.
Yeah, he scored 4 in that game, exactly. He's like Phil. He's the king of 2-goal games.
Yeah, 25 of them to be exact.
Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, so you know, that's happening. So guys just aren't playing, and the coaching decisions just aren't making sense. They just aren't making sense. You're down the goal, like 4 minutes left. The logical thing is you have 2 lines of all-stars, essentially, right?
Yep.
You have Mitch Marner, John Tavares, Austin Matthews, William Nylander.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 40 mil. You have 40 mil in those first 2 lines.
There you go. And so you go, okay, these are the 2 lines I'm rolling for the last 4 minutes because we need to score and we need to win this game. Instead, he goes, Fred Gauthier, get out there for a shift. Alex Kerfoot, get out there for a shift. And nothing happens because it's like, well, what are you expecting?
Yeah, when you have lines that can't produce offensively and you put it in a situation where you have to score, like, what do you think is...
And the thing is, he wouldn't even put them in offensive situations to be able to score.
Yeah, they would start from the defensive zone.
All the time. And that's one of the things I've noticed now with Dmitry Timashov actually starting to look like an NHL player.
Yeah,
like before
he's been good, like, last 5 games.
Yeah, like, really before Timashov was all right. I didn't have an issue with him because he was a 4th liner, played, like, 8 minutes a night, whatever, right? It was because this is a guy that's always been an offensive player that back I was like, no, you're getting defensive zone starts every single shift.
Yeah.
And if you get a goal, great, but I'm not changing how I'm using you. This is it. And now, under Keefe, and we'll get to the difference between them, where it's kind of just like, he looks like an NHL player because this is a guy that he's being used properly, right? And I think that's the big thing. So, they continue to stumble every single game, even when they're winning. It's just like they look terrible.
It's ugly.
They win in spite of themselves, essentially, because Anderson has been the shining star of the
This guy's
rock.
the MVP. Like, literally,
of
if
the
we
entire
did
season.
not have Anderson, we would actually like be in the AHL right now. We would
Well,
have been
let's see
relegated.
here. Let's see how many wins the Leafs would have if Anderson's
Would
not
we be as
net.
bad as Detroit?
We would be on pace for
Uh,
0 points.
Would we be?
Yeah,
would we
no,
be
no,
as bad
sorry.
as Detroit without Freddie Anderson?
Maybe.
I'll let you do the math here. Leafs are 0-6-1 with their backup. So they have 1 point from their
1
backup.
point.
And that was the
So
that was
per
the
7.
third game of the season when Hutchinson lost in the shootout to Montreal
So-
after blowing a 4-1 lead.
Alright, so that's 7 games.
So 7 games.
So you would finish with about 11 points.
So 11 points on the season is what the Leafs would be on pace for.
Projected.
Projected, yeah.
If Frederick Anderson was not in net. That's
And
just,
it was Michael Hutchinson.
or
Yeah.
Casimir Castillo.
Oh, yeah.
Who has won the
Honestly,
regulations.
honestly,
So he's pretty.
His-
Freddie Anderson's
look,
pretty important. to
look,
the team.
Castillo's game wasn't that bad.
No, he was terrible.
No. I didn't think he was
No,
that
no,
bad.
he was
I didn't think he was that bad.
There were so many goals Pittsburgh scored where I was like, at the very least,
No.
you need to look competitive.
Okay,
on him.
yeah,
And
no.
he got beat clean a lot.
No,
He
I
was
feel
bad.
a lot of it was on us. A lot of it's
No,
on
the
forward
team was
and-
terrible that
Yeah,
night.
the team was terrible,
But
but I
so
feel
was he.
a lot of it was on defense. He made some big saves.
Sure,
And
but he
then-
also
no.
let in a bunch of bad goals.
No, but a lot of the goals he that went in on him weren't there's not much he could do. I feel okay, look, Malkin goal. It's your first NHL game. You're going 1-on-1 versus Malkin.
The
What are you gonna
reality
do?
is, if you're
Cry.
an,
Exactly.
the reality is, if you're an NHL goaltender, I don't care how much you make. I don't care if it's your first game or your 100th game. If you're in an NHL net, I expect you to make a save. And if you can't make a save, don't be in an NHL net. Now, it's not your call, but I have the right to judge you as an NHL goaltender if you are in an NHL net and you cannot make a save against NHL players. As simple as that. And I have been one of Castillo's harshest criticizers. Like I have critics. Thank you. It was there. I was gonna say criticisms. I was like, I am not a criticism.
Cricket.
But yeah, I've never liked his game at the AHL level. He's always been he's been fine, but always overrated. Like he's never been great. He's 26, so
Is he worse than
Hutchinson?
Hutchinson?
Yes, because even
He's worse than Hutchinson.
yeah, because his AHL numbers are worse than Hutchinson's are. Because Hutchinson, at the very least, is a very, very good AHL goaltender.
Yeah.
He's just not a good NHL goaltender anymore.
Pretty horrific NHL goaltender.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But he's a good he's a great AHL goaltender. Castillo last year, his stat, he had a 3.7 goals against average, which I love GAA as a stat. It's more of a team stat given how poorly you play.
Yeah.
So save percentage is really, at least in the base stats, what you want to look for. He had an 896 in
The
last
A.
season in the A. Now, granted, he started off really poorly and he finished really strong, and that led into the playoffs where he stole Hutchinson's job after Hutchinson got sent down because Castillo was just so good that Hutchinson couldn't even get to start.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Which is one of the things that annoyed me about this offseason as well, just to circle back there, was you did bring in Michael Neuberth, who was he got hurt twice in preseason, which odds.
Yeah.
That the guy who you go, okay, you know what, if we can just keep him healthy, he'll be a great addition, and he gets hurt twice in
We
preseason.
brought the guy in for a PTO, it just didn't.
Yeah, so whatever. So you pretty much handed the backup job to Michael Hutchinson, who had just lost an AHL starting job to a guy who put up an 896 last season. That was a recipe for disaster.
That's tough.
That was a recipe for
tough.
disaster, to do absolutely nothing than to say, here is your job, here is the backup job.
Yeah.
Especially since you traded Garrett Sparks for that because you were just so done with him.
Yeah.
That was
you were
so
just-
upset about that.
such a bizarre just situation.
Well, the trade
Yeah.
itself made sense. You needed a ton of cap space to be able to afford Marner.
Yep.
And getting David Clarkson back
Yep.
helped you do that. And all
Davey Clark, man.
Yes.
The
and all
legend.
Vegas was
Legend.
asking for was just your backup goalie.
Yeah.
And sure, whatever. You make the trade. You let him have a chance. It was funny though, just with him to as an aside here, where he was pretty amped to go to Vegas because he would have an opportunity, so to speak. And then day one of preseason, Gerard Gallant was like, "No, Malcolm Subban's our backup." Which
Yeah.
he should be because he has
Yes.
been and he's been good. He has
Yeah.
done nothing to warrant losing the job, but it's just. Yeah, Garrett Sparks was much better than Michael Hutchinson. I will fight anyone who argues with me.
Does anybody actually think Michael Hutchinson is better than Garrett Sparks?
Yes, because they did last season when all the stats last season showed that Michael Hutchinson had 3 really good NHL starts for the Leafs. And they were like, yes, he's much better than Sparks. And he was trashed for his other 5 games that he played. But, Sparks just looks so bad.
How
He's not
can
an
you
NHL
even
goalie.
still right now think that Michael Hutchinson is better than Garrett
Because
Sparks?
you just
How do
really
you-
hate Garrett Sparks. That's
have you-
literally all it is. You
has-
just really
have-
hate
No,
him.
because
you
the Garrett Sparks situation, it leaked into the playoffs as well.
Yeah, they just really hate Garrett Sparks.
Yeah.
That was it. Because,
Like,
okay, you have
we
to
haven't seen,
understand-
no one, if Michael Hutchinson lost a playoff game, they hate him as much as Garrett Sparks.
It's fair enough.
It's not even just that. it's you have to understand this isn't a Garrett Sparks versus Michael Hutchinson thing. This was a Garrett Sparks versus Chris McElhinney thing. It's also an anti-Kyle Dubas thing, right? Where that was Kyle Dubas putting a stamp on the team saying, this is the guy I'm choosing, and this is how we're going to go with it.
And look,
it sort of backfired because Sparks was half decent to start the year and finished the year pretty dreadfully. Like, he was pretty dreadful to end the season. I'm one of his biggest fans, but he was dreadful to end the season. Like, I was not a fan.
But what can you do? Like, okay, yes, McElhinney was a fantastic backup for us. But he's aging. That's the thing.
You don't bank on a 35-year-old guy who put up a career year with you. The numbers show, and granted, he did put up a great year last year. This year, not so much. So, but everything shows that him replicating that or even coming close is very slim. Especially when his career save percentage at that point was like a 905. And that was including his great season. So all the numbers show he's a decent backup, but he's not going to do anything great.
He's playing way above his
way above his average. He did, so that's why people love Michael Hutchinson more than Sparks at the very least, because it was just they hate Sparks so much because he was not McElhinney. Yeah. So anyone that's not Sparks is now great. But to get back on topic here.
What was the topic?
The championship window.
Yeah, we've been talking this for so long.
Yeah, the championship window, but I'm just easing into why, like, my reasoning behind it by going through the season here.
So the timeline. There's a timeline.
Yeah. So they have that dreadful game in Pittsburgh, the Kaskasuo game. Yeah. And that was a game where everyone's like, okay, Backup needed to be fired 5 games ago, but definitely after tonight.
Oh, no, Backup needed to be fired, like...
Off-season, sure. You can say off-season.
Yeah, after Game 7.
Yeah, sure. You can say that, absolutely, and I wouldn't argue with that. Yeah. But, like, definitely, like, in terms of this season, everyone's like, okay, he needed to go, like, the last 5 games, but after the Pittsburgh game tonight, like,
that was the one. Horrendous.
Yeah, like, there's no excuse.
Horrendous.
Like, there's no excuse for your team looking that defeated.
Yeah, and I would like to, like, on the record, I would like to say that I'm wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey at the moment, so, like, I was indifferent to that game. I was numb to it.
Can you explain like how your fandom works? Like
the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Toronto Maple Leafs are my 2 favorite teams and my 2 least favorite fan bases.
Nah, man, you ain't taught the Edmonton fans yet.
You
ain't taught the Edmonton fans yet.
Boston fans are pretty bad. I hate Boston fans because they're spoiled.
So. Yeah, Boston fans just don't know what
they don't know what struggle is. They missed the playoffs once, then came back and just started killing everyone.
Yeah, like the Red Sox, the Red Sox won the World Series, then missed the playoffs, and everybody started freaking out. Like, relax, you won the World Series last year.
It's nothing to them. Like you got the Patriots.
They win something every year. You got Celtics, you got the Patriots, you got the Red Sox.
At the very least, even if they don't win, they're very good teams across all sports.
Yeah, competitive. They killed their division in every single.
I mean, the Celtics had like a 2-year rebuild, and all of a sudden they were competitive, and they almost got to the NBA
Finals.
They had
so many first-round picks because of the Kevin Garnett trade.
Fucking Nets. The Nets are just now, years later, just now starting to recover from that trade.
And they're doing well without Kyrie as well.
They're doing pretty well.
Kyrie is a detriment to every team he's on, I think, honestly.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But you're a Pittsburgh fan.
Yes.
And also a Leafs fan.
Yes.
Is it 50-50?
It was 50-50 because I started watching hockey in like the 2008 or 2009 playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I was new. I'm like, oh, this team looks nice. Oh, I like Crosby. I like
so you
Malkin.
mean the Babcock coached Red Wings?
Yes, I did not like that team. I did not hate them because I really, really, really like Lidstrom.
Fair enough.
I love
hard to hate a 40-year-old Swedish dude that's putting up numbers like that. He
was so much fun to watch.
So you are split evenly on these 2 teams.
Now it's more Leafs. So I would say more 70-30 or maybe like 60-40.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like
I am 100% with my teams. 100% Leafs for me.
I'm a 99-1
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a 99-1 split. I'm a 1% Habs fan because that's how I was raised, and I had to break out of that.
Yeah.
So I still got that 1% where, like, if the Leafs are, like, well out of the playoffs and Montreal's there, I'm just like, hey, you know what? I wouldn't hate seeing my dad celebrate a championship. But also, I watch Montreal. I'm like, man, I want you guys to lose every single game.
Max Domi, I hate you.
High key.
Like,
I hate Max Domi.
Yeah.
And I just watch Montreal. I'm like, wow, you guys should not even be competitive. You guys have the ghost of Shea Weber, who's been very good this year.
Yeah.
But, like, you guys have the ghost of Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie, and
hey, he's been good.
Jeff Petrie's great. I love Jeff
Petrie.
He's
been
very good.
I drafted him in my league, and everyone laughed at me.
No,
I've been
the since he was in Edmonton. I've been telling everyone that he's been one of the most underrated right shot D in the league. But I watch Montreal, I'm like, man, especially your forwards. I'm like, you guys have nothing. Why are you still winning games? But
also, I like Carey Price.
Good guy. I have nothing against him.
Good guy.
But anyways, so that Pittsburgh game, garbage.
That
needs to be fired.
Horrendous.
But at least say no. We're going to give him another shot. We're going to wait until after this road trip where we go out to the Central, and we're going to do this, and we'll make a decision after that.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, you after like how many games, like over 200 games of him as coach, over 300 games of him as coach.
Yeah.
You're gonna let his entire tenure be decided on a 4-game road trip. I don't know about that, Chief. But anyways, so they have the Vegas game. And we all know about the Vegas game.
Shout out Nick Patan.
Shout out another Penguins legend, Marc-Andre Fleury. The man with the nicest teeth in the NHL.
Best teeth
in the game.
Shoveling a backhand shot well wide of the net. Was not going in.
Yeah, I think it was going to go over the net.
Yeah, it wasn't going in. But Fleury made a save, and I was like, "Oh, save of the year!"
Love him.
Is it a save
love
if
him.
it
He's
wasn't
so
going
extra.
in the net?
I love the Flower, man.
I attribute that save to getting Jim Montgomery fired. If you listen to an older podcast.
I mean, Fleury has been the downfall of many coaches.
Yes.
This year, a team plays Vegas recently, and then they fire their coach.
So it was the second time Marc-Andre Fleury has ruined Babcock's life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun times. 2009 playoffs were fantastic. I love it. And I like to also point out, Pittsburgh won that game without Crosby. Game 7, they won without Crosby.
Sure.
Yeah,
Good job.
They got Max Talbot. Which one is the player? Which one's the goalie?
Yeah. Max.
Scored both goals.
Cam is the trash.
Third liner scored both goals in that game.
That's how it is.
That's how it is.
That's how legends are made. That's hockey.
That's hockey. And for some reason, Pittsburgh is always injured, but always wins. I don't know how.
I mean, look, Smith Pelly with Washington, 4th liner, put up like a career playoffs. Where is he now? Guess what KHL team is he playing on right now?
Locomotive.
No.
Something.
Dynamo.
No.
Cookie
He's playing on
Dynamo.
Red Star, which is China's KHL team.
Yeah!
China have a KHL team?
China is expanding, man. Like, you think Russia was a communist power? Wait till you see China.
But regardless, so they have that Vegas game. And even still, at this point, everyone's numb. Everyone's going, okay, yeah, fire back up, but you're not going to do it anyways because you haven't done it now. What difference does this game make, you know? By the way, Pierre Engvall got his first goal in that game.
Was that a 6-game losing streak at that point?
I believe so.
It was the second night of a back-to-back, but Pittsburgh was... No. Pittsburgh was on a back-to-back. And they had...
Oh, I was talking about the Vegas game.
Sorry.
It was the 6th game in the losing streak.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they just kept losing, and they were playing 2 nights later over in Arizona, which is a big game for Matthews, obviously.
Yeah.
And so the next day you walk in, and Babcock did practice. He did practice.
Yeah, that was funny.
He did the practice.
That was funny. Then they fired him. Yeah.
And so everyone was like, "Okay, cool. Like nothing's happening because he's running practice." I remember the last time a coach got fired in Toronto, which would be Randy Carlisle, and he didn't even do practice the day he was fired. Like that's how everyone knew because they had an outdoor practice that day.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there, and everyone was like, "Oh, where's Randy? Where's Randy?" And then they said,
Randy.
"Hey, like
Randy
he's
Marsh."
gone." So they let the dude run practice, and then after they're like, "Hey, he's gone. Here's a new guy." Coming in, and Sheldon Keefe, who's been coaching the Marley, has the Caldeus connection going all the way back to Sault Ste. Marie.
Yes. Very, very long. They go way back.
Oh yeah. And me personally, I'm not the biggest Sheldon Keefe fan. I never have been. I've always felt like Sheldon Keefe's success as a coach has always relied heavily on his goaltender. Because.
And yeah, we see that a little bit now as well because like his he encourages everyone to step up offensively. And that kind of leaves RD a little bit like out of place sometimes.
Well, not even just that. Like I'm fine with that because it's a change, and he's at least playing this team to his
strength. It's better than what.
And how he's playing, how he's coaching this team now, I feel is better than how he had coached other teams in the past. Because the Marlies were very good, but a lot of that was due to Derek Sparks being a great AHL goaltender, and having guys like Ben Smith, who was a great AHL player, and Jeremy Bracco put up a career year.
Oh yeah.
And things like that. You know, Justin Hall, when he was down there, was a great AHL defenseman. So things like that, especially the year they won the Calder, when they had Andreas Janssen playing on point-per-game seasons, they were just such a good team that was kind of like it didn't matter how they were being coached because the Marlies were going to win games anyways.
Yeah. But what about, Sheldon Keefe has been a notorious winner throughout his entire coaching career.
Yes.
Yeah, he has been.
So do you think that he just happened to have had good goaltenders wherever he goes? Because he won 5 years in a row with the Pembroke Lumber Kings.
I can't
earlier
tell.
Lumber Kings.
Earlier,
they're laying the wood down.
I can't tell you about his Lumber Kings.
No, I know. But like early in his coaching career, won five straight championships there.
Yep.
Then lost in the second round of playoffs. Went to the Sioux.
Mm-hmm.
Got to playoffs 3 times. Got deeper every year.
Mm-hmm.
Then went to the Marlies. And then after a couple of years, won the Calder Cup. But he was in the playoffs every year. Like he's been in the mix every single year with his
absolutely.
teams.
My point wasn't to say that he's a bad coach. I just think up until as Leaf fans were clamoring for him, he was just slightly overrated because a lot of people didn't realize. Like you look at the year that the Marlies won the Calder Cup, Garrett Sparks went 31-9-1 with a 1.79 goals against and a 936 save percentage. Doesn't matter what team you're rolling out in front of him. That's you're winning games with that goaltending. You're winning games with that goaltending all day. So that's one of the things where it's just like, okay, sure, he did obviously. You tell all these guys, you put Andres Janssen who's picking up point per game, so you tell him, okay, now you're getting only defensive zone starts, things like that.
Yeah.
So, coaching-wise, in terms of, the actuality of it, sure, he did a lot of good things. But I just feel like a lot of his success, at least at the AHL level, was tied to whether or not his goalie was making saves, which I guess could be any hockey team, because we were talking on the way here, Mark, with the Sharks and
Martin
Jones, where the Sharks they weren't a great coach team, but Pierre DeBoer still has a job if Martin Jones makes a save in a few games.
Yeah, but
because Martin Jones can't make a save.
Martin Jones is so bad,
right? And I look at
their team is so old.
Yeah, and I look at last season for the Marlies.
It's actually absurd how old they are. It's almost like a senior citizen beer league.
Yeah, and I look at last season for the Marlies and I go, okay. Like I said, Castro having that 896. When he was terrible to start the season, the Marlies weren't winning games, and Keefe had no choice then because Hutchinson was in the Florida organization and they had lost both McElhinney and Pickard, right? So you're running Kaskasuo and man, who was backing up Kaskasuo? I'm gonna feel so
Ian
dumb.
Scott.
No, he was in junior, who by the way is dead now.
Yeah, what happened?
He got injured in camp and there has been a single word about him since.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't want to cut in for a little bit.
No, do your thing.
When you're talking about Leafs fans overrating Keefe, you can say that about any story with the Leafs. You put
absolutely.
any hockey story around the Toronto Maple Leafs, you will have the media and the fans over exaggerating it to blown out proportions.
Well, that's what happens. We're the largest hockey market in the world.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But I just meant fans going, no, this guy is the answer.
But
right?
but Keefe. I guess he is the best answer to our problem, because yes, the Dubas and Keefe are Batman and Robin.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't argue with this. At the very end of the day, I cannot argue with the success, right?
Yeah.
They came in at the they didn't win anything in the Sioux, but they went deep. They did positive things there. They established a winning culture.
First round exit, second round exit, then a third round
exit.
Exit.
Right? So, but I can't argue with the progress there. I can't even argue with the progress at the AHL level, which ultimately led to a Calder Cup. Granted, I do think a lot of that was just Garrett Sparks, Andres Janssen putting the team on their back and going, hey, we're winning games.
Yeah.
But regardless, I cannot argue with the success.
Yeah, so look, you have... So the problem with Babcock, or one of the problems with Babcock, is that a lot of players, visibly disliked him.
Yeah,
they did not like
all,
playing for him.
Hated
so what do? Would you bring in a brand new coach that people, maybe one or two guys on the team have played with before? No. You have Sheldon Keefe in the AHL, who has, pretty much raised a bunch of the players that are on your roster already.
It's funny,
Zach
though.
Hyman,
He's raised a lot of the depth
Dermott,
guys,
yeah.
But he hasn't raised any of the stars minus, I would say, Nylander, and even still, that was,
for a season.
Half a season, maybe a season.
But
apart from that, a lot of the depth guys, their third, fourth line guys, and even, secondary defensemen, they've all played a good amount.
And they've all
but none of the
better.
stars have, right? So that's why I was okay, cool, but also... you have your Matthews, your Marners. Tavares gets along with everybody, let's be real. But,
he's just...
Yeah,
he's the air in the room.
So that's why I was okay.
There's no mood there.
Cool. And I was also a bit concerned about a guy like Ilya Mikheyev, because the only reason he came to Toronto because he wanted to play for Mike Babcock.
No, who told him that? Who told him that was a good offer?
I'm not complaining.
This guy's really nice. You're going to definitely like him as a person.
The only person that's talked positively and not not at the very least just
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the only person that talked positively about Babcock is Datsuk. Literally, that's
Zetterberg is a high-profile Russian player.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Zetterberg has not said a word, but he's Swedish. We all know what Johan Franzen.
Well, no, Zetterberg when Babcock went to Toronto, not even fired because he was never fired up until Toronto.
Yeah.
when Zetterberg went to Toronto, they asked him, like, hey, like, how do you feel about this? He's like, well, you know, I think I can speak for a lot of guys in the room when I say, like, we all feel like it was time for a change, right? So even he on Babcock's way out was like, hey, he didn't, like, put him down, but he was like, hey, you know, maybe it was best for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think as well, like, he was there for, like, a decade, man.
Yes.
So you're hearing the same thing 82 plus because you're Detroit, you never miss the playoffs. You're hearing that thing like 90 times a season.
Yeah, they went like 20 years without making
yeah,
the
well,
playoffs.
25, I think, right? So you're going like for back as league tenure. If we say like just safely 10 years, for like 90-ish games a season, man, that's almost 1,000 games of just hearing this almost the same thing every single day.
And they even said a couple of players came out and said we won 2008 in spite of Babcock. I'm like, damn.
Well, yeah, I mean, who's their goalie that year? I forget.
Not Howard. What's his name? Guy with the mask.
Osgood. That's what I figured. I want to say Hasek. I was like, no, Hasek was long retired because he is very old.
Yeah.
So anyways.
But he was also a guy with mask.
So they bring in Sheldon Keefe. And all of a sudden, that game, a random game against Arizona feels like must-watch hockey.
Yeah.
Right? It's at least Arizona. It's a 9 p.m. start, man. You know, they've lost 6 straight. Arizona's been a good team this season. There's no reason. All of a sudden, they make a coaching change. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, now I gotta watch the game. I gotta see the differences.
Yeah,
and now nobody
honestly, no sane person would say, "Oh, one game, new coach, everything's going right."
Right?
But it kind of did.
And yet, literally everything did a 180.
Yeah.
Everything did a 180. Tyson Berry, who hadn't scored at all prior to that, put up a goal for the first goal of the game.
Yeah.
On the power play, which sucked on
it was garbage. Yeah.
It was literally just.
The entire mood and the entire dynamic of the team
completely changed.
They were in chains, and as soon as Tyson Berry scored, they just broke the chains off. And
there were so few. Like in Babcock, you would see like so many just errant passes, which is like on the players. But after the errant pass, they wouldn't do anything. Like just kind of leave it. In Keith's system, when we're in our defensive zone, you don't see any like garbage breakout passes. You see fewer.
I mean, I do.
You do, but like they prioritize possession in their own zone, in the neutral zone, rather than just making a weird breakout pass that ultimately
stretch
fails.
pass.
The stretch, and the Ron Haney stretch passes last year.
No man, Nikita Zaitsev.
Nikita Zaitsev stretch passes.
And wasn't even stretch. It was the icing.
It's stretched all the way to the other end of the ice.
Yeah. That was just tough.
So you were talking about how Sheldon Keefe finds success with good goaltenders.
Yes,
I mean, obviously,
which, like
he
any
has one
NHL,
now as well.
Yeah, any hockey coach,
obviously,
you will not win games with a trash goaltender unless you are the San Jose Sharks of last year, which somehow made like the Western Conference Final.
No, he was good in the playoffs. Martin Jones was really good.
Nobody wasn't.
No.
Nobody wasn't.
I'm quite sure he was.
No, Martin Jones was just as bad.
In the playoffs?
Yes, he was just as bad. Yes.
I need the stats.
Martin Jones was pretty trash.
I need the numbers.
Okay, but anyways, like to make my point, does it not pay to have a coach intertwined with the GM's belief on the team?
No, absolutely. That was the biggest issue.
So that's got to be the big thing. Dubas was like, okay, well, Dubas gave a I forget which school is that, but he gave a guest talk where he said, you know, we weren't having success with the Marlies, but I found Sheldon, I brought in Sheldon Keefe, a guy, who shares the same beliefs, and all of a sudden it turns it around. And this was before Back by a Fire. And you kind of see that, and you think, okay, well, like, you did that with the Marlies. You found a guy who's intertwined your system. You got success. Is it not glaringly obvious? Like, is the elephant in the room not big enough to notice that that's the same thing happening with your NHL team as well?
Yeah, but I don't think that was Dubas' call for the most part. I think it's very hard to sell owners like MLSE on firing a guy as high profile as Mike Babcock, especially with the money owed to him. Mm-hmm. I think it's very hard to convince them, right? I think it was Dubas had the call.
MLSE isn't. I mean, there's a lot of money.
For sure. But also, they're also in the business of making.
Okay, I have pulled up.
Okay, we'll get back to that. I don't think that MLSE was very keen, especially and let's just say it was after Game 7 Boston. Kyle goes to them and says, "Hey, look, I want to make this change." I don't know if they're very keen on going. Okay, this guy's 5 years left on his deal. He's owed 20 more million. I don't know if we just want to throw that away, right? And
Fair
then
enough.
have to hire somebody else to an NHL salary in terms of coaching, right?
Yeah.
Now, I get what you're saying, and that's why I still feel like I don't think he was the wrong person for the job. I don't know if there's anybody else post-Babcock. I think that's why I myself was hesitant on firing Babcock, because I was like, okay, well,
Sure, on Joel Quenneville.
Yeah, because I was like, apart
it's also mid-season. It's hard to find replacements mid-season.
So I'm like, okay, apart from Sheldon Keefe, who's taking over the bench? It better not be Dave Haxtell, this dude.
No.
I'm like, it better not be him. So unless there's a good replacement, why bother? Just why, right? But at the very least, they said, hey, we're gonna try this. Well, they commit. They didn't say we're gonna try this. This is what we're gonna do. Sheldon Keefe is up. We're doing this. And hey, since then they've had their ups and downs. They're 8-4-0 under Keefe since then. They look like an NHL team most nights. There are some nights where they come out. And
It's interesting to watch them play now. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leaf hockey.
They come out, they do their thing, and they look like how they were meant to be playing.
Yeah, they look reminiscent of like the first half, like the first season or two of Babcock's career here.
Yeah, where you built this team that's speed and skill.
Yeah.
And they're playing speed and skill hockey.
Yeah.
It's not like one of my favorite things is like if Babcock had a perfect world, he would win every hockey game 0 to -1.
This is true.
Whereas like now they're going, we know we can score 6 goals a game. Why are we just doing this?
Yeah.
Right? We know Anderson, even on his worst night, is going to let in like 4 max.
Max, yeah.
So if we score 5, who cares? And that was the perfect thing with the Buffalo game that just happened this past week, right?
Yeah.
When they went up 4-1 and then Buffalo came back made 4-3. I was sort of worried because it's the Leafs and, they'll still Leaf it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I know they can score. So, like, even if Buffalo ties this, I'm not worried at all because, Austin won't score. He can only score 2 at a time. But somebody else can come through and just, I'm not worried anymore. Like,
if they pull the goalie, then, 9 times out of 10 it'll be Zach Hyman putting it into the...
Absolutely. And that's
this
why
man, with the empty net, Zach Hyman is the greatest hockey player of all time.
He's the GOAT,
You
man.
When the net is empty.
You cannot stop him.
Yeah, man. George Gretzky.
Children's author. Children's books.
Yeah.
Author Wayne Gretzky, basically.
Yeah. It was just...
Oh, that wing.
Zach Bob Marley,
Hyman.
Jamaican singer.
I'm gonna love Zach.
And yeah, that's just the difference now where I look at them and I'm not worried even if they've been scoring first a lot now, which is very positive.
Yeah.
But even if they don't, I go, it's like before when they were winning games, I'm like, I'm not worried about them because I know it's the Leafs. All it takes is one shot and they're right back in this game. Whereas before with Babcock, it's like, oh, they're down 2-0. Well, maybe if we're lucky.
No, it's...
Yeah, it was pretty hopeless.
Yeah, it was like, and it sucked, right?
We go down by 1 and I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, because they looked bad to start the game.
Especially in the third period, if we're now at 1, we're not winning that game.
And so, to get to my main point here, to get to this timeline, now under
Let the record show that
does
Isaac
it
did a
all-
hand wave like
does
this,
it-
like a rainbow.
Does it all tie in to your
Yes.
point now?
It all ties into my point, saying
What
that
is the championship window?
Oh yeah, we have to address that.
if the Leafs continue to play this way, their championship window can, honestly, it's a cop-out answer, but it can last as long as they wanted to, because this is the type of hockey that will win games. And we see with the Islanders. The Islanders were playing this type of hockey with a less skilled team and winning games.
I
Because if
still
you
don't know
just-
how it's happening.
Because if you just forecheck,
It's mind-boggling.
It's actually like absurd.
Goaltending.
I know the
You look
goaltending,
at their-
even then,
yeah,
but
you
they're
look-
scoring.
No, you look at their player stats. They have like a few guys scoring.
Yeah.
And then it's like a whole bunch of nothing.
No, but it's split. That's the thing. It's not like Barzell is putting up like 40 goals.
No,
season.
yeah,
no,
but
he's
like-
He's gonna put up 25 this season. That's
Yeah,
it.
and he's gonna get signed to a great contract and it's gonna
Yeah.
explode. It's gonna be Nathan McKinnon all over again.
Yeah.
I hate it. But honestly, like under Babcock, I would say I wouldn't even like. Okay, to be realistic, their chances of making the playoffs this year are still relatively slim.
They're lukewarm. Yes, at best.
They're tied in games played
at
with
our
Buffalo. who's out
current
of the
pace,
spot.
if we
No, go ahead.
continue at the current pace of our 8-4-0 with 8-4-0, right?
Yeah,
with
8-4-0.
and
Under-
we'll
for
finish
the
with
rest of the season.
101 points.
Yes, which is enough to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And
But,
that's
like-
if they continue on this pace, though, right?
Yeah,
So
but that's
that
winning
means-
8 of every 12
yeah.
games. That's winning like 2 out of every 3 games.
Yeah, it's winning 2
which
out of
is-
every 3 games essentially, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's quite
So-
difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And granted, the Leafs do have the easiest schedule from here on out.
Yeah.
In terms of where they are in the stage relative to where other
Yeah,
teams
we
are,
play
right?
New York, we play Detroit this week.
No, but, like,
they're,
just for the rest of
right
the
now,
season,
they're,
right?
okay, but they don't necessarily have to maintain that trend because they're only 1 point behind the Sabres, who you said they're on equal games
Yes,
with.
but yeah.
And they're tied with Montreal, who have a game in hand. But
Exactly.
Montreal-
They're not game
look,
in
out of
hand.
it. But, like, they're in 4th. They're 1 point out of 2nd right now.
Okay, Montreal with Carey Price the way he currently is, they will regress. They will drop in the standings. Florida,
I think
if Florida can get Bobrovsky going, they will
Yeah,
finish
they'll
second.
be. Yeah, they'll be fine. No,
They will-
Tampa will finish second.
Okay, if
Tampa-
Florida's
they
pretty
will
scary
battle-
if Bobrovsky figures it out.
Yeah, they'll be scary. Their power play is so good.
But I also think that those forwards, I've said this on a podcast before, I think those forwards are going to start regressing a little bit as well. I don't think they're going to maintain
because they
that,
put up
that hot
they
streak.
put up these numbers last season, and Hoffman isn't even producing it,
Yeah, it's
and
Florida's a weird team.
Trocheck isn't producing it either.
Is Trocheck still there?
Yes,
I feel like
he's their second line center.
I feel like Trocheck got traded to Pittsburgh.
I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
No, he's still there.
No.
He's literally.
No, he's not.
he's
not. I swear.
Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah. Am I just dumb? Am I confusing my NHL life?
Why you tripping me out?
I'm confusing my NHL 19 or NHL 20 with him because I traded him to Pittsburgh.
You know what? He looks like a player that will play for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he
A
does.
video game transcends to reality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Life-
no,
life
because
imitates art.
because he's from Pittsburgh. That's also a thing. I didn't know that, but he is also from Pittsburgh. I don't know, but yeah, no,
What are the
Trocheck
odds?
is very good. But no, I think their odds to make the playoffs this year are still relatively slim. But if they keep up their pace, obviously they'll make it.
Don't make wild card 2 and play Boston in the first round.
It is worth noting that
It's all set up. It's all scripted.
This
It's
is
scripted.
rigged. The NHL's rigged.
it's worth knowing that last year they did make the playoffs by 2 points over Montreal, and that was getting 7 out of a possible 8 points against Montreal last season, because they won 3 and then they lost to shootout in the very last game of the season.
True.
Whereas this year they've already dropped 4 points to Montreal, or 3 because they lost in the shootout. So they were well behind that. So if we get into a situation like that, especially in the division, it's tough. The reality is they dug themselves a deep hole to start the season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so now they need to just keep winning to dig themselves out. It's
Yeah.
possible. They can do it.
It's also a really tight
They
division.
have if any team can do it. If any team can do it, it's
Yeah,
us.
they're very
Yes.
talented. They're more than talented enough to do it, to make it. But to be realistic, it's also not
It's
likely
unlikely. It's unlikely
that they make the playoffs this year, just based
I
on
still
that.
think. I still think they
It's
make the playoffs.
no, it's still possible. No, but the thing, no, you have to look at like the position that we're in, right? But like, yes, we can if we play at even a pace that's slightly less than what we're at right now.
Yeah.
In any other division, we would make the playoffs.
but I'm
But
pretty
look
sure-
at our division.
I'm
That's
pretty
the
sure
thing.
they need like minimum. I want to say it's like just low 90s to make the playoffs.
No, we
in
need
this.
98 or 97, I think. Projected. We'll need
Yeah,
like
but I
97
think
points to
but I
make the
think
playoffs.
that's with everybody else. I think they only need like low 90s, just given that the 4 teams like us, Buffalo, Florida, and Montreal are kind of just all tight in there.
Yeah.
And they also have to play each other.
Yep.
Right.
And Tampa. is
So
there as
but Tampa. I'm just penciling Tampa in for a second. So I'm saying with all of us so tight, they have to play each other. I'm pretty sure just like third is going to be like 92, 93 points just to get in, just because.
well. Oh yeah, because they're losing points to each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're
Right.
saying,
Yeah. So the reality is, I mean, it's still extremely possible they make the playoffs, but it's also pretty unlikely.
I think they make the playoffs.
I mean, I if I had to bet right now, I would say that they wouldn't.
I would take the bet that they would.
But
They would.
I did. I would say they would. Like, I would take that bet. Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be shocked, right? My
Yeah.
only issue is that they're still very inconsistent, and that there are nights where it's like, yeah, this team can win the cup, and there are nights where it's like,
No.
this team is a lottery
Well,
team.
they're still relatively new under Keefe. Like,
Sure, yeah, no,
Yeah,
they
and
are
it took-
adjusting,
and
and
last-
they are adjusting.
Yeah, last year it took St. Louis I think 10 games or something like that before like they figured out Mikey.
Well, we are
didn't
well
hire him.
over.
We're 12 games under
Yeah,
Keefe.
12
we,
games.
Yeah, we were well.
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
that,
but-
you know.
we're playing
No, I'm just
with
saying
this
it
new
took
coach.
time. It took time.
Look, if the adjusting
And
process,
they had a healthy roster
if
at
you're
that time, too. We
8
still
and
have a
4
healthy
and
roster.
your adjusting
No,
process,
yeah, no, it's good.
you
That's
gotta like
quite
what you
good.
see.
That's quite good,
That's
yeah.
very good.
But you know, I don't want to be one just because I'm a big proponent of take 2 points wherever you can. I don't care if you play poor or not. You got 2 points.
Yeah, but
take
we
it
haven't
run.
played that many good
But
teams.
also, no, not even just good teams. You look at the Vancouver game from last week. Without Frederick Anderson
we,
in that third
didn't,
period,
we didn't deserve to win that.
that's a blowout.
We
for
didn't deserve to
Vancouver.
be within 2 goals of
Yeah.
Vancouver that night.
that was
So,
ugly.
but there is a game where you take 2 points and run. Regardless, you won the game. Take your points. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Right? Who cares? They lost how you did it at the end of the stand. At the end of the year,
Get
they're-
out of that
yeah.
building.
Dude,
At the
You
end of the
leave.
year, they're gonna look. You got 101 points. They're not gonna be like, oh yeah, but how'd you get 2 of those points? Oh, you didn't deserve that. No, you take your 2
Doesn't
points.
matter.
And run,
You,
right?
you go to the playoffs.
Okay.
But that's the thing where they're just so wildly inconsistent. Where if Anderson's not on his game that heavily that
Like
night,
in the Calgary game.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you drop those 2 points,
Exactly.
right?
All
So
right.
that's just where I am with the Leafs. Now in terms of cup window, if they continue to win like this, well, let's just keep rolling. They can win a cup
But-
because the
okay,
NHL playoffs are so wacky.
I think-
I also.
You make no.
Okay.
My theory on the NHL playoffs is every team is a cup contender once you make the playoffs.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, I want to say something. I wouldn't be surprised if this is similar to like if we do miss the playoffs, it'll be like the year Boston missed the playoffs.
Oh, so we're
Well-
gonna get 3 first-round picks and just
That-
blow them all?
Oh yeah, that was terrible. How do you do?
Blow them
No,
all.
Grisslick has been alright, but like everyone else.
Grisslick was one of their picks.
No.
Who was
No.
it? Who was the guy
It
right
was
after?
Zaboro, DeBrusque, and Senishin.
Oh, DeBrusque.
No, but who was right after that?
Barzell,
Yeah,
Besser.
yes,
It was Barzell,
yes,
Besser.
those-
Right,
those
Here,
two.
let me
Let
me pull that up.
That's
for
gonna
you.
end up being one of the best drafts ever.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was the Martin
That's a
draft.
fantastic draft class.
Yeah, it was.
Draft class. Sorry.
That was the Martin year. The
Marner
2015.
was like the fifth choice prospect, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
he's a
McDavid,
100-point
Eichel,
scorer.
Strome, Marner, Hanifin, Pavel Zakin, number 6. New Jersey
Oh,
just
Jesus.
sucks at
New Jersey is
it's
so.
Yeah, New Jersey
It's
can't
hilarious.
draft.
I
They
love
cannot
it.
draft.
Especially with the
I
first
love it.
overall
What was
pick.
the last good draft pick?
Jack Hughes. Literally this past
I said good.
Jack Hughes is fine. man. He's a good
He's
player.
got some.
He's a good
room
player.
for
He's got
improvement.
Well,
room-
yeah, he's
yeah.
a young player, and
But yeah, but how you
he's
gonna
playing
look?
on this Devils team with no
Yeah,
semblance
look,
of
but
a
still,
winger.
you're a
Yeah.
first overall.
Yeah, but he's playing with no semblance of a winger. Like, at least Matthews had Nylander, and McDavid's just better than everybody, so he didn't need a winger.
It's true.
Okay, but
And
I
Eichel had no winger for the
If-
longest time, and he was putting up, like, under point per game.
no,
seasons.
he's
So
I've always
anyways,
been a good player. But
So,
Yeah.
Boston picked 13, 14, 15. They went Jakub Zaboro, who's played 2 NHL games, currently playing in Providence. They had Jake
Providence.
DeBrusque at 14, who is okay.
No, he's a good
I think
player.
he's a trash player until he plays the Leafs. Like, you watch
Oh,
him play
yeah.
against any other team,
Then
and
maybe
you're kind
I'm
of
kinda
like, this
biased.
dude sucks. He plays against Leafs. It's like, this guy kills us every single night.
yeah, he had like 4 goals.
Yeah,
in the
I
last
don't
series?
understand.
I don't know.
And then Zach
Some of that.
Senishin, who's getting his first taste of NHL action currently. He's played 6 NHL games. Directly after Senishin at 17 was Matt Barzal.
Excellent.
16. 17 was Kyle Connor.
Oh man.
18
Wow.
was Thomas Shabbat.
Oh man.
wow.
Okay, first of all, Tom Shabbat, I like to shout him out. Man played LeBron minutes the other
Yeah,
day.
he
He played
played
38 minutes.
And on the second half of
And they
back-to-back.
lost. Yeah, the second half of back-to-back, and they
Against
lost
Tampa.
Did
overtime.
he crawl off the ice?
I don't know. I think I think the airlift him or something.
19 is the worst Svechnikov brother, Evgeny. The worst of 2. Andre is the one that's pulling out the sick lacrosse
That guy's a beast.
Evgeny's just
That guy's
kind of
That guy's a beast.
Shout out Andre.
Number 23 was Brock Besser.
Yep.
24, which used to be the Leafs pick that they got from Nashville that they then traded back for to get Travis Dermott. This was Travis Konechny at 24.
Oh, that sucks. He's a good player.
Yeah. They traded 24.
Travis Dermott's been fine.
They traded 24 back to 29 for Columbus, and Columbus gave them, I think, 2 seconds.
Mhm.
And so Leafs picked Dermott and somebody else. One pick
Amazing.
after Dermott, Sebastian Aho.
Damn. That sucks.
Wow.
But also, where would he have fit into our system?
Who cares? That's a
Yeah.
first-line center.
That's true.
Who cares? You find a place
Oh
for
no,
him to
that's
fit.
2015. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, that would have been a big help.
Yeah, you find a fit
Yeah,
for
yeah.
him.
Imagine drafting like Sebastian Aho and Mitch Martin in the same.
Hey, it's
same
all a
draft.
lot of
That's
what
crazy.
ifs. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
what
that's-
ifs.
that's-
with
yeah,
the
that-
draft.
that's-
Sometimes it goes all right. Like with Pittsburgh, they drafted Fleury, Malkin, Crosby, and Letang in 3 straight
Yeah, but
years.
those like 3.
And they only
like,
played in 2 of those seasons because one of them was a lockout.
I mean, this guy said 2 and he put 3 fingers.
No, in 3.
I
No,
noticed.
that was in 3 drafts. In 3 drafts.
Oh,
In 3 drafts, but they only played 2 seasons. They only-
Okay, I need to clearly steer you on your track here.
Yes.
The
Cup
championship window.
Okay.
Look,
I-
every
I-
single year that Austin Matthews is a Leaf, and even still, because you
Yeah.
think about one season after he's a UFA, which he'll stay, everyone's like, oh, but Arizona, he'll stay. Let's be real.
Well, what about the huge amount of UFAs coming this season?
Who cares? We don't have space for them.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Who are you going to get to replace these guys?
Oh,
You
so
gotta-
you're
no,
talking
we'll
about the
have-
Leafs' current UFAs.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Here's how you do it. I'll show you.
You
right
bring
now.
up HL like we usually do.
No, I'll tell you right now. So right now, you're running Riley, Barry, Muzzin, Dermott, Hall, Cece. That's your current run right now, right? So next season, you go Riley, you fill in somebody next to it. Your second pairing,
Preferably
Hall-
Dermott. I'll put Dermott there.
Sure, no, but your second pairing,
Sorry,
Dermott,
what's your top
Hall,
two? What's your top two?
Morgan Riley, and whoever you want to stick next to him. Get Ron Hazy back.
Oh no, please, no,
don't
no,
do that.
please.
No.
It
I
was a
have.
joke.
No.
I keep the pistol
No,
under
no
my
joking
bed.
about Ron Hainsey.
I have one bullet in my pistol under my bed. No, I'm kidding. I don't have a pistol.
So it's
I
Riley.
What the
do.
bullet would be
I
for me.
do.
So
The
it's
bullet would
Riley-
be for me if not him.
It's Riley in the blank spot. Your second pairing would be Dermott, Hall. Dermott has warranted top 4 minutes now. Hall has shown that he's an NHL player.
Yes.
Hall, they're both
Hole.
No, it's Justin Hall.
Joel Hole.
No, it's
Spelled
Hall.
hole.
So Dermott's an RFA. You can get him for relatively cheap. I would argue well under $3 million.
Sorry, who?
Hall, Dermott,
Yes.
like well under $3 million.
Oh.
And that's with a bit of term.
I say 3.
What?
I'll say 3
For
million.
Dermott?
Maybe, yeah. Actually, no. He's playing. He's not playing on
Hall
top. of the line.
himself is going to come in under 2.
Yep.
I would safely say like a 1.5 with 2 years.
Yep.
Which is fine. So that's your second pairing. Your third pairing, you have Rasmus Sandin, because his contract will actually start to count regardless of where he plays next year.
Yeah.
And Timothy Liljegren, who should get games at some point this season.
Yep.
So you get those 5 guys. You still have, I believe, like with that, you should have about like 8-9 million in cap space just
before
in terms
before
of,
signing Dermott or Barry. Yeah.
Well, Barry's not staying.
Sorry, not Dermott. Sorry,
Yeah,
Barry or Muzzin.
Well, Muzzin's probably gone. He's been hurt all season. I haven't liked him.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been off.
Yeah,
man. He's been off.
So
but a healthy Dermott is a
Muzzin's
great
making,
player,
I believe, 4 or 5. He's making one of those, and then you add that into Barry's 2.8, so 3, right?
Yep.
So if we go there,
But then we also have 5 forwards.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So pretty much, okay. So Cody Cece's making 4.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Muzzin's making 4, so that's 8.5 there.
Yep.
Right, plus an additional 2.75, so that's about 10 million in space, right?
Yep.
In terms of just UFA defensemen, you can get half decent defensemen, even if like don't use all of that, but you can get a half decent defenseman to play alongside Morgan Riley for $10.5 million in space, and use like even if you just want to commit like 2-3 of that to the guys like Dermott, Hall, you can commit that. Then okay, cool. You have $8 million. You can find a defenseman to play alongside Morgan Riley for $8 million.
Would you not try to get Jake Muzzin back?
I guess if
The way he's
run
playing
out
right
of
now,
options-
no.
Yeah, on a rock. Yeah.
If because like the thing is we can't have him we can't have him or Riley injured right now. And
they
they clearly
walked away
played.
from Jake Gardner, who was much better.
They clearly played several like a bunch of the season like not 100%.
Yeah.
Like Riley's decision making this season.
Riley's
so
also
bad.
just
It's
very strongly regressing.
Yeah,
he's not a consistent 70
No, but
point
even then, he's
defenseman.
making the most basic plays wrong.
Yeah, but last season he wasn't,
Yeah,
right?
he was,
It's just
yeah.
regression.
But he was never this bad. It's not just regression. This is
No,
way below
but
his
exactly.
average.
That's kind of the issue, right? Where he's never been great defensively, but now he's not even contributing offensively enough. Like he's still his point totals are still very good, right? But a lot more secondary assists.
Points, yeah.
So like you don't notice them. If we're looking at right now at UFAs, and we can look at defensemen for next season, and you want to look at some guys that you could probably replace to play next to Riley. Obviously, the big guy is Pietrangelo.
Jeez, can you imagine?
Is he a Toronto boy?
I think he's from Canada.
I believe you.
Good old Toronto boy.
Let me look it up.
Yeah,
You
he's
keep
from
talking.
Canada at the very least. Justin Schultz, right shot defenseman for the Penguins. I like Schultz a lot. Schultz and Petrie were very good. It's a shame that neither of them got the proper shake in Edmonton.
Yeah, this is true.
Obviously, Tyson Barrie is there. He'll still. Torrey Krug hasn't been signed by Boston yet. No, it's very
They'll
unlikely.
sign it for $3 and like a spoon.
Yeah, exactly. It's very unlikely that Krug leaves. But even though he shoots
Yeah,
left,
that's right. Finish.
I wouldn't hate to see Torrey Krug doesn't leave.
He is a fantastic power play option.
I like Torrey Krug.
He's a
He's
fantastic
a
power play
shot,
option.
but I
yeah.
wouldn't mind
Alex
playing
Pietrangelo is from King City, which is just north of Toronto.
Good enough.
Say Kingston or King City?
King City.
Oh.
Yo, real kings only. That's it right there. That's a king city. Zach Bogosian. Oh, the goal.
No, Bogosian for Norris?
was
Oh my
half decent.
God.
Bogo for Norris?
I remember when Bogosian was decent.
Sammy Vatanen is a UFA.
Okay,
Is
so
he
there's
not old
options.
as well?
Okay.
Yeah, there are enough options. No,
No, I'm thinking of Vlasic. Yeah, Vatanen.
Yeah, Vatanen's only. Sorry, I scrolled and now I lost him. He's 29, so you probably don't want to commit long term. I would
No,
go
I'm
3-4
3
years
years, yeah.
max. 3-4 years max. If you have to get that 4th year in there,
Yeah, okay.
do it. Whatever. Because at least that 4th year means that him, Matthews, and a lot of other guys, Nylander, are all coming up at the same time, so you can kind of do it. Bless you.
Thank you, sir.
So there are options, right? At the very least, there's Chris Tanev, who's not great anymore. Don't let anyone tell you this offseason that the Leafs need to get Chris Tanev, because no,
Oh, I won't.
he's not good.
I wasn't going to either.
He's not good.
They're probably scouting some guys from
Um,
Russia as well. Like they
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's
But
guys
also,
like Travis Hamonic. Like there were a lot of half decent
Yeah.
UFA defensemen this offseason that for $8.5 million you can attract.
But also, I want to
You're
see.
fine.
I would like that. I'd like to see them not spend the entire cap because we
No,
need a
you have
backup.
to. No.
We need a backup, and Freddie's contract is up in 2 years.
No,
Yes.
you worry about Freddie when you get to Freddie. You make
I
space
don't.
for
I don't think you do. I think you prepare.
you cannot.
No.
You cannot
Dude,
leave
You
Freddie
like
the
you
last
were
minute.
attesting to how important
No, Freddie
Freddie
is
Anderson
literally.
is to this.
No,
I was
literally
really
the most important
You
player
need to
on the team.
understand.
I'm glad you
Frederick
brought this
Anderson-
up because I was going to bring this up.
Frederick Anderson's already 30, right? So when he's done his
Already.
contract, he's going to be 32, maybe 33, depending on when his birthday is.
Yeah.
So, do you want to commit to a 33-year-old
For at least 2 or 3
goaltender?
more years, yes.
Possibly, yes, but at his
What better choices do you
I
have?
don't know. We can look and see what
You have to
UFA
be
goaltenders
ready.
are
You
out
gotta
there.
be ready to get him back.
I don't know.
See
I
if
think you
Pittsburgh
worry
wants to
about
deal
that.
Matt Murray.
I think you worry about that when you get there. You prepare for that next season. Like this season, you don't like this off season. You don't go into it going, "Oh man, Frey's up next off season." You worry about that when you get there. Let's say you pull the Patrick Marleau. You knew that third year was going to be an issue, and you said, "Hey, we'll worry about that third year when we get there." And they got to that third year where they had to make a decision, and they said, "All right, it's going to cost us a first-round pick in order to keep the guys here."
Can you pull up that trade, the Patrick Marleau trade to Carolina? That was a funny trade. That
It was
so
literally
funny.
just like
I had people
first
asking
round
me, Amar, what is this? How does this
Wasn't it
make
just
sense?
Marleau in the first, and the Leafs got like a fourth
Like
out
a
of it?
6th-round pick? Yeah.
Yeah, the Leafs got 6. Yeah, it was literally just Marleau.
A
in the
lottery
first.
protected first round draft pick, a 2027 round pick, and in exchange for a 2026 round pick.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
funny. That is so funny.
So I mean, that's fine. You worry about that when you get there. But the reality is, right now, I say the Leafs Cup window is as long as they can, as long as Austin Matthews is here, honestly, because Marner and Tavares are here also for the extra year after. But Austin Matthews isn't leaving.
Well, Matthews still has a lot of time left.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm saying. At the very least, you have the next 5 years to win a cup, and he's not leaving. And he'll be like, well, okay, a lot of people get confused because when they say players prime, they talk about like 26 to like 29, but the players prime is a lot earlier than that. It's like 23 to like.
I don't agree.
No, it is. When you look at the when you look at NHL stats, a lot of players primes are where they play their best hockey is like 23 to like 26. Now, guys have career years after the fact where you go, he's in his prime now. But a lot of younger players, as the league gets younger, a lot of guys are peaking earlier in terms of their best. In terms of their best seasons,
the league is speeding up.
So in terms of their best seasons, so their primes are now getting lower in age.
That spring in your step is a big difference now.
Yeah. So Austin's prime is like probably this season up until like the end of his contract.
Well,
and he's still going to be an amazing player when he hits UFA. So obviously you keep him. He's going to be an elite goal scorer for his entire career.
Yeah.
But
we've also seen players improve past it. Was 4th season now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also seen players improve well into like 6th or 7th season.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Like Nathan McKinnon's one of those guys that like peaked after he signed his big contract, which was a big contract at the time, right?
Yeah.
But he'll stay. Matthew's like favorite athlete is Russell Westbrook.
Why?
Because
why?
Look at them. Look, they're very similar players.
No, what did you just say?
Matthew's favorite athlete is Russell Westbrook, and they're very similar players. Look at
They're not similar players.
Yeah, he loves the
Who is that?
He likes the fashion.
Who is that guy coming in the 2019 NHL draft whose player comparable was Lionel Messi?
Oh yeah.
Man, I could not tell you.
I can't. I know what you're talking about.
He goes one way, then the other, and bang! That's what they said about him.
What?
I forget.
I don't remember this ever happening.
There was a.
It wasn't
to
Zadina.
contextualize it. There was a player in the NHL draft.
It wasn't Philip Zadina. It was
They did player comparables in the NHL to the player, but
Wait, what draft was this?
His player
Last year.
comparable,
Like, as in the draft that just, like the Jack Hughes draft?
Yes.
Or the one before?
Yes, the one
Jack
that
Hughes,
had him.
really?
And his player comparable was Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
That
That's
was one of the funniest things I've ever seen on Twitter.
Yeah, we don't have an NHL comparable. So here's Lionel Messi.
Yeah, there's nobody in NHL who we can replicate this guy, but Lionel Messi, this guy, guys, these are probably guys who don't watch soccer at all.
It was Montreal prospect Cole Caulfield.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Montreal prospect Cole Caulfield. Yeah, he They had a graphic on the screen that says Cole Caulfield for United States. Player comparable Lionel Messi trait makes you go one way then the other. Bang! I know that happened. That's hilarious. I love Cole Caulfield. He's gonna be great for Montreal. It actually makes me very upset.
Okay, so back to the window.
Yeah.
If this year is like a blowout, like we don't make the playoffs this season,
and
next year is a big bounce back.
Oh yeah.
Next year is a huge bounce back. We saw this with Boston. We saw this with Ovechkin and the Caps.
The only team we really haven't seen it with is Montreal. Montreal was the team that finished, I believe they were first in the conference, and then they got bounced by New York in the first round. Well, we knew Ottawa's situation, right?
Literally, Chris Kunitz just ended Ottawa's entire franchise, essentially.
Yeah.
But the reality is,
Chris Kunitz,
the Leafs are going to be a
gold medalist.
Gold medalist. What, three or 4-time?
I couldn't tell you.
Stanley Cup champion.
First line gold medalist. By the way.
He won in Chicago. He won Chicago. No, he didn't win Chicago.
He didn't win Chicago.
No, so it would have been 3. Because he won both in Pittsburgh. Yes.
Yeah, he won.
Sorry, he won 3 in Pittsburgh.
I don't know if he won the last one. I don't know if
Okay,
he won the
it's
last
probably
one.
just 3 because he won the one in Anaheim,
Yes.
and so the other 2. So probably just 3.
I'm thinking, I always get Kunis and Fedotenko mixed up. I don't know why.
I don't know how. They're 2 very different players.
Like, they were both on the Pittsburgh team in 2009. That's all.
No, the Leafs are going to be a good team for a very long time.
Yeah.
The only player you have to worry about regressing is going to be Tavares, which you knew you signed up for.
Yeah.
Even still, he doesn't play a game that's like very built on speed. It's all about his hockey IQ.
It's all about
So
hockey
at the
IQ
very least,
and
if
From your
you-
second line.
Yeah, at the very least, if he can keep his hockey IQ up to par,
yeah, because
because his skating has never been great. John Tavares in his worst seasons can get you 40 points when he's washed, right? Like when he's washed, and you're kind of like, okay, we just
I say 50.
possibly.
I can agree.
Yeah, possibly. I was just saying, like, at his worst, he's still probably gonna be good for 40 points on the
Yeah,
season.
even then you're like, even,
Right?
yeah, but then you're gonna pay 11 mil for 50.
No, because you knew that was the
Yeah,
case
you
when
knew
you
it was
got
gonna
him.
be the case, yeah.
You had paid 11
And
mil so
even
you
then,
could get 88
someone
points
else.
last
And
season.
thing is, someone else was gonna sign him to that contract, but for more.
Yeah, the Islanders and Sharks were both offering 13. They were offering him more than McDavid
Yeah.
money to keep him, and he was like, "No, it's wrong.
Nah.
See it." But no, the Leafs. The cool thing about the Leafs paying their stars is that you can shuffle depth guys out easily.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
You
We're gonna
don't-
be doing that for like the foreseeable future.
You don't need to worry because you're in a Vancouver spot where you're like, oh man, I'm paying $100 million for Jay Beagle and I can't move him, right? Like
Or Boston paying $6 mil for
David Backes,
David Backes,
right? So when you lock your money into your stars, you're going, these are the guys we're building around,
Yeah.
and you can build around those guys because
Yeah.
you'll have the money elsewhere to build. So as long as those guys exist, at the very least for the next 3 years, because Morgan Riley isn't even UFA until 2023, right? So that's 2 seasons after this one,
This is true.
right?
Mm.
So he's going to be very good. If Alex Kerfoot can at least become the player that he was in Colorado, he's
Yeah, or
signed
even just close to it, like that'd be
Sure,
fine. It'd be a
he's
great
signed
third line
for
forward.
2 years after this one. Then he's an RFA, so he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So this team is built fine. They had a slow start because they were bad. They were being used poorly. They couldn't get a save from their backups. If Michael Hutchison wins two of the games that he went winless in,
Yeah.
the Leafs have an extra 4 points in the standings.
Yeah.
They're chilling with an extra 4 points, right? The Leafs aren't a bad team. They aren't. They play poorly sometimes, but they're not a bad team. They've had bad games, and they're going to be fine. Their cup window is literally
Look,
every
man,
year.
I'm really worried about when Freddie Anderson leaves.
I'm
You
not.
gotta find a
I-
suitable
I'm
replacement
like-
because
I'm
they
like,
rely
yeah.
so heavily on him. You gotta find a guy who can handle
goaltending,
that.
But also, I'm gonna cross that bridge when we get there.
Bring back James Reimer.
Right now, I'm worried about this current season, and I'm worried about next season.
Yeah.
Frederick Anderson is a Leaf this season, he's a Leaf next season. I will worry about the season when he is not a Leaf, when we get to that season, if we get to that season. So I'm not even remotely concerned at this point in time. It's like it's like right now, it's like kind of worrying about Austin Matthews. Now, granted, it's a long way away now, but it's like when we get to that point where it's like, oh, he's a UFA next season, it's going to be great. I will worry about that when I get there. And as long as he plays for my team,
I'm not working for next couple of years.
I'm not getting paid to worry about it.
Yeah.
You want to pay me millions to worry about it? I'm going to be more than happy to worry about Frederick Anderson.
There's so many people, especially like the old people. They worry so much all the time. They're acting like
Leaf fans won't ever.
They're acting like the money that Nylander makes is coming out of their pocket, like it's taxpayer dollar. I'm like, no.
I will never understand the hate for William Nylander.
I don't get it.
Because
And the thing
at
is,
that
it's so
money,
contradictory. They're like, oh, trade Nylander for a good defenseman. I'm like, first of all, you're saying he's worthless.
Yeah.
Why would
That's my
anyone
favorite
trade
thing.
for a good defenseman?
Yeah, that's my favorite
You're
thing.
li- it doesn't
They're
make any
of two
sense.
minds like, this guy's garbage, he's not an NHL player, but also he can land his Colton Parayko in the first.
Like, no,
I
what
don't
are
know
you
about
talking
I don't know
about?
about that, Craig. I don't know about that one. I mean,
Craig
look,
with his sunglasses and bald head in the
in
display
the car,
picture.
in his car.
In his car, yes.
No, the thing about William Nylander that people don't like is he's hot, he's attractive, and that makes him jealous. And
Man,
look
I
at
wish I
NHL
had
players.
Swedish, I
NHL
wish
players
I
are
had
ugly.
Swedish hair, man. I wish I had
NHL
Swedish
players
hair.
are ugly, so they can relate. But you get an attractive NHL player, and they're like, oh man.
Take that back. Henrik Lundqvist is a
no.
beautiful man.
But you see the difference in, of course, this is an old story.
More
we all
Swedish
know
hair,
this,
man. These
right?
Swedish guys in their hair is so, especially
Where-
except for Sundin.
No, but he had gray hair before he just shaved it all
For
off.
like, he shaved off when he go
Oh,
bald.
I don't know, one of the two. I don't know. Regardless, when Nylander was holding out, which we know now was just over a couple $100,000 that Dubas wouldn't pay him, which, I mean, that's on Kyle, because, like,
Yeah.
it's $100,000. It was less than league min, so it wasn't even a contract spot.
Yeah.
It was like $300,000. We're like, come on, guy, like, you can either have this guy in the season, or you can not over that much. I don't know about that. So regardless, he held out. He's got his contract. He had a bad season last year up until playoffs. Right?
Yeah, and that's fair because he didn't have trading camp.
No, but that's also slightly on him. It's a mix. It was both sides of our fault.
But also,
didn't offer him there, but also Nylander didn't really do much.
And at the same time, the team was garbage after Christmas.
Oh yeah.
The team was bad after Christmas, man.
Yeah. And so you do that, but then you look at the difference when that happened. When Mitch Marner was a free agent in the offseason.
Yeah.
Where he could have done a lot, but instead he was like, no, I want Matthews money. And everyone was like, are you good, Chief? Like, I don't know about that.
And we actually did it.
And he said, I got 94 points last season. I'm better. I want this money.
But I've also heard reports that he wanted more money if Babcock was still there. That's what I don't know if that's true or not, but it is fair. Because Mitch was like one of the that story that came about Mitch and Babcock with that list or whatever that he made. Like that's not okay.
No,
it's not okay at all. If you're gonna be under that coach again, and who's signed for another 5 seasons, then you.
And I'm sure a part of that played into Matthews' decision as well, because that was more like we knew. They didn't even try to hide that. Like they were very much not on the same page.
Yeah.
At any point in time, right? So they didn't even try it. So I wouldn't be surprised that was the case as well. But regardless, the reality is, for the next 5 seasons, you have your core 4 locked up.
Yep.
And for 3 seasons, you have them plus Riley.
Yep. And for 2 seasons, you have them plus
Anderson.
What do you have to say for people who think William Nylander should be traded?
I mean, there's nothing.
Because there's a lot of people out there who are advocates of that.
I mean, he's a valuable player.
But the reality is, there is no change in their mind. So there's no point in being.
Okay,
because they don't care about the numbers. They don't care about the eye test. Because the thing about the eye test is that if you have convinced yourself that a player is bad, you're going to know this when it's real. It was the Jake Gardner syndrome.
Yeah.
Jake Gardner was a great defenseman.
Was never that bad.
Jake Gardner was a great defenseman, but if you're going, he always messes up with the puck, you're going to notice when he messes up. Way more than you're going to notice when
he does something good.
Yeah, well, not even just that, just when somebody else messes up, right? Yeah. Like when Jake Muzzin messes up with the puck, you don't think, oh man, Muzz is so garbage. Because
I've been thinking that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's not a preconceived thing. We're like, oh, he's so garbage, right? Whereas with Gardner, at least last season when they were together, that was just the reality of it. And I'm guilty of that too. Every time Ron Hazy did something good, I was silent. And every time Ron Hazy did something bad, I was like, this is why he's garbage.
However,
right?
The bad outweighed the good, and we like.
No, of course.
That is objective.
No, of course. But the reality is, you can look into every either advanced or just non-advanced metric that shows William Nylander is a very good NHL player.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't care. And so there's nothing to convince them at this point.
I have players on like similar contracts to William Nylander in terms of money, in terms of
there's only
the way
one that's much better than him, and that's David Pastrnak.
Well, yeah, you look at guys. Okay, let me just bring some names up that are in and about.
Do it one by one, and we'll go. Okay,
I'll tell you.
Amari, this is what we'll do. He'll say a name. We'll say better, worse, or even.
No, I'll just tell you. Okay, I'll say better, worse, or even, and when one is really good, I'll just say it's illegal.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna start at $7,250,000 a year, and I'm gonna go all the way down. Okay, I'm just gonna start there and move my way down. Okay.
Sure. 6.5.
So at $7,250,000 a year, Bobby Ryan, David Krejci.
Is that current contract?
Yes.
Yeah, we know that.
Bobby Ryan, David Krejci on $7,250,000.
Krejci is fine. That's a value contract.
Yes, exactly.
They got their years out of that contract. Like,
and David Krejci put up.
He's not that player anymore.
Like, I'm saying these are guys on this money.
Bobby Ryan.
The Bobby Ryan contract was always bad, but we knew that like the David Krejci contract is just a case of him being older now. But they got Boston got their value out of that contract in the past few seasons. Yeah, so that's fine. The Krejci contract's fine. Bobby Ryan, we know that.
I don't think anyone's complaining about the David Krejci contract.
Kyle Connor.
No,
that's fine. He's worse. However,
he's probably on this near same level.
I think no. Kyle Connor's worse.
He doesn't drive play as well. Just barely.
Kyle Connor doesn't drive play nearly as well. He scores a lot of goals. He's a better goal scorer.
But he didn't do anything else. But same thing with Nylander. Nylander doesn't do that much. But Nylander drives play.
Yeah, Nylander
he drives play. His possession, his entry is
his zone entries are great. His possession's great.
Kyle Connor's a good guy to have when you have a good line already.
Oh yeah. Kyle Connor is going to get in there. He's going to put up like a point per game season for you.
Yeah.
So he's very, very good. He's going to put up more points on the season than Nylander will.
But it depends on the rest of the line.
But there's a lot of names. You have to make your descriptions a little bit quicker.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, Connor's one of the ones because they're like very similar in age.
Yeah.
just
Evander Kane.
Good contract.
no, not a good
7 million.
contract.
7 million.
No,
I'm at
because
7
he
million
just
now.
signed that. That was 7x7, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was 7x7.
Yeah, it's not that
Yeah,
good.
it's not a good contract.
JVR. James Van Riemsdyk.
I love him, but
He's been bad.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of money.
That's a
7
lot of
million
money.
for
to
JVR.
have him park his thick self in front of the net and miss those between the leg shots, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, Reems like has 17 points
So-
in 34 games. Like he's been bad this
So
season.
worse,
I love him though.
clearly,
I
than
love him.
Nylander.
This season at least.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
in general,
he's past his prime. He's past his
yeah,
prime.
like,
It's
they paid
kinda
a lot
unfair
for a
to
guy.
Anders Lee.
oh, well worse.
Well,
Now,
no,
if you
but
look
he's
at
like he's like their big guy. So
Max
it's fine.
Pacioretty.
See the Andrew Lee.
He has been good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Patrick-
that's a good
Patrick is
contract.
very
That
good.
one's
Good.
good.
Yeah,
Joe Pavelski.
very bad. Joe
7
Pavelski.
million,
I
7
just-
million
I
as
just-
well.
I just dropped it fantasy.
Then you get to William
Like,
Nylander.
the
At,
thing about Joe Pavelski, real quick, is that in San Jose, he was excelling because people knew to like kind of plan, like the coaches knew to plan their strategy around what makes him good.
Yeah,
Then he went to Dallas, where
he's like the third or fourth guy.
yeah, where it's like we're not gonna plan our strategy around you.
Yeah, we
like
have
you're
Townsend and
adapting to
Embiid,
us, and he just can't adapt. Like
Yeah.
he just hasn't.
He's
been
been bad. I
good.
dropped him. Yeah.
okay, then you get to William Nylander at 6.9.
6.96969.
Nice.
It was a very nice
Gronk
deal.
would be proud.
Yes. Then you get Patrice Bergeron,
Very
Fantastic.
good.
Very
That's all-
good.
Borderline
Yes.
illegal.
Very
Borderline
good.
illegal.
Ryan Kessler,
He doesn't
Laughable.
play. He doesn't play anymore. So it's one of those contracts.
Johnny
He doesn't play
Goudreau.
That's a good
That's
contract.
very
That's a
nice.
good contract.
How much is Goudreau made? 6'9",
6'7".
6'7"?
That's a good contract.
Um,
For the leading
Like
scorer.
a full
David
full,
Pastrnak, illegal.
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 Completely illegal.
6.6666.
Completely, absolutely, like just an act of war on the rest of the NHL.
Yes.
It's not fair.
Then we're at 6.5 now, and these are the last two names: Paul Stastny and Derek Stepan.
Paul Stastny is not as good as he used to be, but he's by no means an awful NHL
Yes,
player.
but when you look at the players in comparison to Nylander making this money, how can you argue that Nylander's making too much money?
No, because those other two players are centers as well. Yeah.
No, but
Derek
look,
Stepan
this
has
is-
like 12
this is
points
this
one
is a
season.
broad
He's been
comparison.
really trash.
These are the kind of guys making this much money. How can you honestly say that William Nylander is being overpaid when he's on the level, if not better than
they
all the other
don't
guys
see
around
him
this
at
amount?
Because what they'll do is they'll pull the Pastrnak contract.
Can you-
They'll pull the McKinnon contract.
Look, those are actually
illegal
are
contracts. They're
unfair
not fair at all.
No, the thing is, the McKinnon contract was very fair when he signed
When
it.
he signed, because he only probably like
Yeah,
60
okay,
points.
but when he re-signs for the same amount of money, like he said he's going to
He's
do,
not going to.
He will. He
No,
will watch
he's
it.
not. No, he's not.
Cole Harbour
No,
boys,
he's
man.
not.
Cole Halifax boys.
Like everyone got themselves so worked up about that. You know, like he has like 3-4 years left on this deal.
at least.
Yeah, wait until the landscape of the NHL changes and he sees how much top guys are getting paid. You think he's gonna be like, yeah, pay me less than half of what these guys are making?
Connor
Yeah,
Well, we'll see
okay.
when it gets there.
how,
but
how long
okay.
is Connor's
this-
contract? How long is Connor's contract?
At least 5 more years. He signed 8, so at least 5
Sure.
more. At least it might be 6.
Okay, but you see the point I'm trying to make.
No, but
right?
yeah, but what I'm saying
Can
is,
you-
to that point, the reason they say that is because they're going to pull out contracts that are clear steals right now
Mhm.
and go, see, he shouldn't be making more than Nathan McKinnon. He shouldn't be making more than David Pastrnak. He shouldn't be making more than Nikolai Ehlers. I don't know what Ehlers make. I think it's just straight 6. But, you know.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So they're looking at those and say, well, why is he making this much more? Never mind, the difference in those is between Pastrnak and Nylander, 300,000. Between Pastrnak and Gaudreau, 200,000.
Between Pastrnak and literally every other player, like put Pastrnak against his contemporaries in the
Yes.
point race right now.
Yeah, no, he's much better than everybody.
He's making less
better
than half.
He's
Making
probably
less than half of McDavid.
He's probably
Putting up
gonna win the
similar
Rocket this year.
points.
right?
Might win the Rocket Richard.
He will win the Rocket. Who's gonna catch up to him right now?
Austin Matthews.
Possibly Ovechkin, but probably not. I think
Austin,
Pastrnak
alright, first of all,
gets
Book it. Pasternak's gonna go cold.
Yo.
Austin's gonna go white hot.
Austin's still on pace for 50.
49. It's like 49 and a half, which is 49 because he can't score half a goal. It's 49.
round up 50.
If we get the power play going somehow, then yeah, it'll be.
The power play's been fine. They've been actually like a league average since
Yeah,
Steve
yeah,
took
no,
over,
that's-
which is fine.
yeah.
It's much better than not scoring
but,
at all.
But how many penalties?
Okay,
do we
I
draw?
think to wrap it up, everything up. I think that there is the great possibility that this is a long-term championship window,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it relies
I agree.
heavily, I think, on Freddie Anderson and the goalie situation after 2
See,
years.
it relies on goals because
If-
you don't win a cup with a trash goalie. But at the end of the day, it's not Frederick Anderson that's going to win or lose you a cup. You can get another
Nope.
goalie in here. No, you can get a... Yeah. The Leafs are talented enough a team that we understand how they're playing now, right? But if they are able to fix the kinks in their system in terms of, hey, we're not going to let Vancouver get 6 breakaways this game and have our goalie bail us out, then if they can fix those kinks and just... That's fine. Like, Frederick Anderson puts up like a 918, which is slightly
Yeah.
above league average,
That
which
is
is like
above league average,
912. right? The Leafs still win games with 9-12 goaltending.
Oh, and speaking of goaltending, I want to go back to the Martin Jones stats I pulled up. Last season, he started 20 games and had an .898, which is awful.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, and they
I told you that.
Yeah, what's
yeah,
the conference?
He was trash.
I thought you were talking about the final. The year
The year in the finals, he was fine.
The year they went to the finals. Yeah, the year they went to the finals, he posted a .923 and a .216.
Yeah, no, that's why he signed that contract. He was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Leafs are a good team. The Leafs are a good team. Don't let anyone tell you differently. The Leafs are a good team.
Leafs are a good
Leafs are a
team.
good team.
Yes. And
They're just the issue with this season that they dug themselves into a hole.
Like
That
that.
statistically
very
is a
hard to
bit
get out of,
unlikely
yeah.
that they will get out of it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't the reality is they just wasted 30 games of their season trying to do something that wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so now they have
Banging their head against the wall.
Yeah, now they really have to go in there and fix it.
Yeah, but
All right, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you to Omar for being on the episode. Thank you to
you're
Isaac
welcome.
for being on the episode. Isaac, do you want to talk about your show real quick?
Not really. It's a hip-hop sports podcast, mainly hip-hop rap life. It's kind of like a variety show. Never know what we're going to talk about. Me and my co-host, Jerome Payne, we talk everything from hip-hop rap culture to politics and the like. Sprinkle a little bit of sports in there. We think we're funny. Most people think we're not.
I think you're pretty funny, Isaac.
That's great.
I like
Right,
it.
Jacob?
It's a good show.
It's a good show.
We have a good time doing it, and, it's there.
It's on
Papa Shark-
SoundCloud.
Papa Shark Podcast on SoundCloud. We pay that SoundCloud fee every month. We have two albums, 2 episodes a month, maybe that. School's tough out here.
School's tough here.
Hard
It's
to
tough
find
in these
time.
streets.
Hard to find time out
All right,
there.
but that will
But
wrap
it's-
up this.
it's a good time.
We'll wrap up this episode. Follow Amateur Hour Sports on Twitter and Instagram at Amateur Hour PDC. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Spotify, and we upload every single day to keep you up with the sporting world.